Today on the podcast, I'm joined by Ash Lim, the founder and director of Odd Assembly, a creative production company that's worked with brands such as Adobe, Gucci, Adidas and Maybelline. But Odd Assembly isn't just about high-end client work. It's a space that thrives on community, culture, creativity and collaboration. And in this episode, Ash shares the real story of what it takes to build a production company from the start. His own personal wins, his struggles, the challenges of building a team, and how he's managed to take Odd Assembly to the level it is today. So if you're a creative looking to turn your passion into a career, this episode's going to give you an inside look at what it really takes to succeed at this level. So let's get into it.
What if we dared to dream beyond the ordinary? To push the limits of what's known? To create a world to call our own? We are destined to do more, to be more, to come together, to inspire, to push for progress and reach higher. We are the authors of the story.
To be honest, Odd Assembly looks sick. Like, you've done so much with it, and I feel like when someone were to say, like, what is Odd Assembly, I feel like you're underselling it by saying it's just a production company, especially with the things that you're trying to do with community and culture. If someone were to ask you, like, what is Odd Assembly, how much more is it than just a production company to you? Or what would you call it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think for me, Odd Assembly is very much, a creative company, but very much a place for other creatives who've felt left out, or creatives who, are looking for another home, another place that's safe for them to create.
Yeah.
Because I think for myself, it was definitely born out of a place of, I need to find my community. I need to find my group of people, and I never could.
Yeah.
And it was always like such a challenge to find that community. And I was like, I could complain about it. I could, keep on trying, but I think it was so empty where I was like, okay, I need to just do it for myself.
Yeah.
And I think that was the biggest catalyst that allowed me to just say, Ash, you got to stop questioning and, trying to figure it out, and just do it through figuring it out.
Yeah, of course. I feel like everything that you're saying is very common in this space.
Definitely.
Even when you're saying, like, for creatives to have another home, I don't even feel like most creatives feel like they do have a home. It's a very lonely career path.
Definitely.
Did you notice that? Or did you feel like it was just you that felt this way?
I think that was very much the mutual feeling for everyone. Yeah. But it was everyone feeling the same thing, which kind of created a community in that isolated thought. And I think, it's very much, you find the other lonely people, or you find the other people
it really is that
don't know how to do it or how to get there. But I think it was very much finding that commonality and then doing something about it.
Yeah, it's very much community and culture is what you feel when you surround yourself around this brand. Like, when you go on the page, when you go on the website, everywhere you go, it's not just production company, it's very community driven, but even culture driven. Like, what is it that, like, why culture?
I think culture because, my background's Chinese Malaysian. Yep. But a lot of the, cultural ethos of our culture is essentially, bringing people together. So when we opened up our new spot in 2023, we started this thing called Odd Club, which is like a supper club. And we just invited, different industries in, and what we would say is like potluck style, bring your own plate. And I think that's what I grew up with as a kid.
Yeah, that's mad.
In an Asian household. And I was like, oh, that's what I've been craving, but for the creative community. And I was just like, let's try this out. And that was actually the biggest catalyst for why the company grew as well, just by, you know, connecting with the community, staying in touch with culture, and, you know, just being one of the community members and facilitating that.
It's very inclusive. And I think that's a point of separation, especially compared to other brands, not even just in the creative space. There's a lot of brands where it's almost like this is the cool club, and it almost feels it's exclusive, it's hard to get in there. Whereas like this feels like anyone's welcome, like everyone's welcome. You even have like an invitation page for just crazy ideas.
Yes.
Like, which I thought was insane. Yeah. And I thought that was insane. You literally have a form, and it's like, we just want crazy ideas, curious minds, anything and everything. Like, you're welcoming any idea. And even just having that on your page makes those people that feel left out or alone okay with sharing what they feel.
Definitely. I think it's, you know, trying to redefine a lot of things in the creative space, because I think it can be quite glorified. And if we look at it traditionally, like art galleries, that form that you were talking about was like an invitation to say, hey, we have a space similar to you, and just go create something. Like, it doesn't have to be that complicated. It's just simply creating for the sake of creating. And I think that's kind of what I miss as well, in terms of, I think a lot of people love being creative, and the biggest question or the challenge is always, how do we make creativity sustainable? How do we do it for a living? And I think once it becomes like a sustainable thing for you, you kind of lose. Or I always miss those early days of just like when I bought my first camera, and then you know, I was like, oh, you're a cool person, you're a friend that I know who does music, let's shoot.
Yeah.
Like, that's the energy that I kind of miss, because there's like no I guess like financial pressure or whatever. It's just like, oh, I'm just here to capture some beautiful story. So yeah, I do miss that, but I think trying to, you know, maintain that as much as possible with
incorporate it into what you're doing.
100%.
And I think every creative starts out that way, because it's just you pick up a camera because you love it, and then you just try and come up with ideas that are your own, and obviously they're just going to be what you enjoy doing. At what point for you did that start to change? Like, when did you start picking up a camera, you started doing all the fun stuff, and then started realizing like this is something that you've got to take seriously?
I have a bit of a more unique journey.
Okay.
So I was actually doing a corporate job in tech sales.
Cool.
And I was dating a musician at the time.
Wow, they're very two different careers.
Yes. And then she was like, oh, you know, babe, can you take some photos for me? Became the Instagram boyfriend. And then, you know, I was like doing it as a side hustle for her. And then we broke up. Yep. I was very heartbroken. And then I actually kind of started doing it out of spite.
No.
As immature as that is.
Yeah.
But then I was like, oh, I'm going to show you who's successful.
Yeah.
And I actually went on that journey which I found was such a weak foundation, because it was obviously doing creativity out of a very different motive. Yeah, true. To like be cool and be successful. But then what I realized was, I guess I had this mentality, right, of, oh, I'm going to be the best photographer, or I'm going to be the best director or producer. And as time went on, I found that very unfulfilling. And I was like, cool, I like this stuff, but it's like, fundamentally, what do I actually find like actual joy in? Yes. And I think the joy that I found was, you know, facilitating creative people. And I found my creativity was, I guess, how to answer how we can make creativity sustainable for everyone as well. Because I think my journey was very much, oh, I want to be like this hotshot, but realistically, like, the gap was so wide and no one was really helping me. But I slowly went on that journey to now then be able to do that for other people as much as I can. So I think for me, how it came to that was yeah, just very much fundamentally looking at why do I specifically like these tasks, to say, you know, my calling in life is not to be a photographer or whatever, but it's to really just facilitate creative people and champion them in any way I can. Yeah.
That sounds very self-reflective.
Yes.
Which is, I think a lot of people struggle to stop, or I'm speaking for myself here, where like you just work and work and work and you're trying to make things happen. You never stop to think those things. Like what is really fulfilling me out of all the things I'm doing? What do I really want to achieve out of this? And I found for the longest time for me, for years, I was just going and just taking opportunities wherever they came from, didn't want to say no to anything until, you know, you just crash out and you feel overwhelmed and stressed, and you come to a place where you realize like nothing is as fun as it used to be, like the things that you were saying, and you have to stop and reflect and have a think about like, well, there's no clarity in where I'm going. What are the things that fulfill me, and how do I refocus so that I'm doing more of that and less of the things that are making me feel, you know, not the best.
Yeah.
And it feels like you have ended up at that place.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's tricky as well. I think living in a Gen Z world, I think, you know, so I'm a millennial, and I think there's a lot of, yes, hustle culture. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. But I think, you know, as we've progressed as a society, it's very much, you know, quick gratification.
Yeah, man.
And especially in the creative world, it can be like that, because I think, yeah, a lot of people do it to be recognized. A lot of people to do it to get something, I think, get something for themselves, which I think is totally fine. But I think the real reward was, doing it for other people, and I agree. I think there's a lot of trying to get the external rewards as soon as you can, and you fall victim to that, and you're creating, not just creating, but everything that you're doing is reliant on all these external things, where internally you're not feeling the best. And the conflict a lot of the time is like, if I do what makes me feel fulfilled internally, I may not get those external rewards. Exactly.
Especially on social. She played like the social media example. It's like, I may not get the views, I may not get the followers, but it's what I really love to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time there's conflict there, because people just do the things that they think externally people would want to see.
Yeah.
But it's not what they love inside. And then they end up chasing and chasing and chasing.
Exactly.
And then over time they realize that they're not happy.
Exactly. That was very much the journey that I went on. And I think for me, kind of reflecting on that, you know, separation or gap that I had of like, cool, I wanted to get here as a creative. I think for me, it was also a big catalyst was seeing Asian representation, and that's been a very big part of what we've been building. And I think, you know, especially in the film production world, it's, you know, it's seeing the same kind of person on sets, and I was like, I want to change that. And like, I very much love getting, you know, new people on, and I think kids these days are so insanely talented, and I'm just like, I feel very drawn towards like, I want to facilitate it so, you know, their journeys of creativity don't become jaded. But it's been pretty cool, because I think, you know, being a bit more direct to client with a lot of our projects that we do, you know, being able to dictate. So as an example, we did this spot with Adobe. And with the Adobe spot, it was all about, you know, Voices of Tomorrow, celebrating Lunar New Year. And it had all these Asian creatives from different industries that are very well known in Australia. And it was great to, you know, hear their stories, but it was also great because on the other side of the lens, we pretty much had a whole Asian crew. Yeah. I was like, fuck yeah, that's sick.
Did you come up with this whole idea? How much of this was you and the brand, Adobe?
It was kind of proposed to us from Adobe to say, hey, we just want Asian creatives having lunch together. And we're like, cool, what about quite a long, or what about a short film? And they're like, yeah, cool. And they were very supportive of like the ideas that we wanted to do, because they were like, cool, you're Asian and this is about Lunar New Year. So you should be telling that story and we trust you. And like to have that from a corporate company is just like huge. And I think it's such a big win, because I think it meant a lot for a lot of people within our community.
It really is. Yeah, it's true. Especially when you start working with bigger brands like that, it's hard to be able to feel the confidence to even pitch ideas to them, because you just follow suit and you follow the brief and what they want. But by having those wins, it then starts to build your reputation as someone that can be trusted with ideas. Right?
I definitely think that what's always reigned true to me on this journey is very much, the more true to the more true you stay to yourself, the more success I guess you'll get. And I guess something that I always remind myself of, like why I started this, was just for that one thank you. Even if it's just having a supper club at our place, or having an event at our place, or getting someone on a set, like I do it for that one thank you. And I always have to remind myself that, because I think that's the thing that keeps me going for sure.
So you've created this brand that gives opportunities to these people. Were there people that gave you an opportunity?
Yes, actually, quite a few people. I think there's someone that I really look up to. Her name's Margaret Zhang. I'm not too sure if you're familiar with her. And also my friend Sammy Jade. The two of them went to high school together. They started their own agency, but they were some of the first people to use our home studio, get me on as a photographer. And just took a chance on me, and I was like, oh, I love this. And they're also both Asian. But for context, Margaret became the youngest editor-in-chief in Vogue China.
Oh, wow.
So it's just like really cool to see how, that one chance can really have a huge impact on your life. And I think it's always good to remember, the chances that people give you, because I think that, that should also be then given to other people and shared, and not just taken for, personal glory.
Yeah, I think so. The way that you were speaking about, appreciating getting that thank you and those opportunities. A lot of the times I feel like what that means to them, because you've been in a position where you've felt that, right?
Getting those opportunities and remembering it from a grateful place, but also, definitely sharing that and making sure that, I think, so what we're going to be doing is opening up our Shanghai office next week, pretty much.
Wow.
But have been really inspired by, the city of Shanghai, because they've just shared knowledge and shared resource. And I think that's a lost art within creativity. I think it's always said as like collaboration, and I think that's good. But I think it's really sharing knowledge and sharing time to share that together.
What's the creative landscape there compared to here? I'm always curious about like what it's like overseas to here. Are people more collaborative, more open to sharing?
It just blew my mind how willing they were. And I think it's also to do with like economic statuses of different countries. I think Australia is, obviously the most furthest place away from America or Europe. But with Shanghai, it was the first time I went there in 2023. We just did like a social media call out, and then didn't have anything lined up. We were there for a client for an activation, but once we got there, we just did a call out and, met with so many people who either run agencies or are head of departments at big corporations, and they were just so willing to say, oh, cool, what do you need? I was like, love a job?
Yeah.
And I was just so inspired by that. And I was like, oh, cool. I want to take that energy and also do that in Australia and share that kind of resource and knowledge. Though I will say, like, I don't want to fabricate it that, yes, it's 100% been a very difficult journey doing that in Australia, because I think, we're very much, we very much in Australia champion, we champion people to plateau. And I think that's been very much my experience of, don't try or try. We hate that. But do like in the middle. And you're just like, just fucking do it. Like, yeah, I think there's this, I don't know. I feel like when you look at historically what creativity did for a lot of communities, you look at, I'm very bad with referencing history, but like you think of like Van Goghs or whatever, they obviously created all of these paintings from a place of, repression, or they wanted to politically say something that was like, oh wow, this opened my mind, this is going to provoke me to also create. And I think, I want to try instill that energy more globally.
And I think that's the purpose of what you're doing, right? And it takes time, but at the same time, because you've just gone and done it, right? You've seen something, you saw a gap or something that was missing, and you just took it on yourself to just do it and just start. And I feel like that's where it starts. The landscape elsewhere could be different to what it is here, but there's no reason why that can't change. And a lot of the time, it's just starting with yourself. Like, just start, and eventually it'll grow. And I'm a big believer of like change can happen instantly, right? The results of change may take time. It may take time to see the results of getting to that place. But change can start tomorrow by you saying, I'm going to start Odd Assembly. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, the change itself is instant. I could wake up tomorrow and decide to do something about it. That's change. The results are going to take a while, right? But collectively, if everyone just decides, like, from tomorrow, I am going to act this way, that's where it starts.
100%. I think it's that, it's the saying and the doing, and just like not caring. Really. I feel like, and I think this is such a commonality with a lot of creatives, even like, Bon Iver has this interview where he's like, I became successful when I stopped caring. And I was like, huh, interesting. And then I was like, fuck, he's right.
Yeah, totally, man. And even in your brand, in what you're doing, it goes against everything. Like, where trends are a thing and everyone's trying to like mimic the things that are working because they're like, oh, if it's working for them, I'm going to instantly just jump on this because it may, I need to act the same as everyone else because they're the ones getting the results.
Correct.
And you've embraced being the odd one out. You've literally, that's your name. We're going to embrace being the odd one out.
Yeah.
And once you identify yourself as that person, you're now in a great place. You stand out because you're intentionally saying, we don't need to follow the trends. We embrace everything, no matter how weird you are or what your ideas are. We're happy to take those on. And you've identified yourself as those people. And I think that's a great thing.
Yeah, I think it's 1,000% that, and I think it's also, the reality of it. The reality is that sometimes we do have to follow the trends and just do what client says. But I think what I've learnt is to go, okay, even though we can't change maybe the top line or the overview or the umbrella, it's like, how can we actually change the subcategories within that? So like if we have to work with a commercial partner, it's cool, we'll do the project, but then I think the opportunity there is to go, who can we actually hire to do the job and give them the opportunity to then do that creative.
Yep.
And I think that's a more digestible way. I think I've figured out how to at least do some right, even if it's in the bigger detail or the smaller detail.
Yeah, of course. And I think even with the brand, like you've got a crazy list of brands that you've worked with, but the more that you embrace your identity with the jobs that you take on, the more this reputation builds, the more people trust you with doing things your way, you know, and trusting your ideas. Do you ever feel like, though, you've got your own ideas and your own culture within your brand? However, when you work with big brands, or when a big brand approaches you, they've also taken a long time to build their culture and tell their story.
Totally.
And you've got to you need to at the same time respect that while also embracing who you are as a brand. Do you find that challenging?
1,000%.
Yeah, I can imagine it would be. Or is it more about finding brands that sort of align, like they also believe in, you know, standing out, being a little bit different, and trying to align yourself with those brands because you're both open to trying new things?
I think it's always tricky because it's like, one, have to keep the lights on.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes you just got to cop that. And I think that's why I kind of mentioned like, okay, cool. What can we actually dictate from a cultural POV? But I think it's been nice because I think a lot of people have come to us, even with, as an example, like Google, they've said, oh, you're very well known in the music industry, or, you know, you're doing all these cultural things. You need to be doing this campaign. So we do get hired for jobs because of what we do culturally.
Yeah.
Did they just label it just to tick off a box? Sometimes, to be honest, but I think it's an ongoing challenge, that's for sure.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Do you ever find like, one of the hardest things for me, and one of my biggest learnings was like, in order for me to say yes to some of the things that I really want to do, I had to learn to say no to other things. Is that something that you've had to deal with?
Yes.
And how do you do it?
I don't know.
Yeah. You know, like I imagine, you know, there'd be opportunities that really align with what you're doing, but you've already said yes to something else and you're stuck doing.
I've actually been more of a no person.
It's hard to get there, man. But for me, oh my God.
I started there though. I started there a little bit, like, because I started and I gained a bit of traction, but then I was like, I'm just gonna. I took on that ethos and I was like, you got to say the no's to get the bigger things, and that's definitely been rewarded many times.
Yep.
But I think have lent into, I guess, more the yeses from a practicality point of view sometimes. But I think what I've felt is that sometimes, you know, we can say yes to things, but also share the yeses with other people who would actually want to have that yes.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's
yeah. I think that's the best way.
Yeah.
I think rather than just saying no, it's like, it's the yes and here's this person you should contact.
Yeah.
I guess from a more business practicality point of view, it's just being the person with the answers. Yeah. And I guess like we've pitched to a lot of brands as like, you know, Odd Assembly being very much a cultural curator of like, this is the person you definitely need for this talent or DOP or whatever. These are the people you need. And I think that's maybe the best way or the current way that I've kind of addressed that, I guess.
I think that's really good. I need to take that from you.
Please take it.
And how do you build these relationships? How would you go about, how would you give advice to someone to not just network, but have these relationships where you do know all these people?
I think that's the cookie cutter answer is always that, just go to parties, go to events, go to as many things. But I know that, you know, there are more people that I guess are a bit more reserved, and I think it's been really cool lately to see I guess these micro communities pop up. Obviously like the run clubs are huge.
Yep.
But I've been seeing a lot more people start just like like chess clubs, mahjong clubs, and I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah, this is sick.
Yeah, that's mad.
And I think that's a good way to meet people. But I think,
do you think that's something that's come out of that space of just feeling lonely online? Like there's so much happening online where you feel connected to so many people, but physically you're just going to work, you're going home, and like you've interacted with thousands and thousands of people, but physically you haven't interacted with anyone, that people are starting to crave these things.
Definitely. I think society is very much geared towards wanting the opposite of what's mainstream.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's awesome to see, because I think, you know, for myself, you're a millennial, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, the internet wasn't that cool back in our time, but like...
No. How old are you?
33.
Wow, I turned 39 yesterday.
Oh, hectic.
Yeah.
Hectic.
I'm
Happy
up there.
birthday.
Thank you, man.
Crazy. Cool.
Yeah, so I grew up with no internet. The internet came around when I was a teenager. It blew my mind.
And I think like everyone's working back towards like, oh, I just want that real life experience.
Yes.
And just meeting people. And I think it is tricky in Sydney though, because I do find it quite isolated into each different communities. But very much wish there was, you know, something there that would bring more a weird collection of people together. Because what's been really cool as well is like some of the events that we've run, like we did like a Ikebana, it's like a flower workshop thing, and people brought their aunties and uncles, and I was like, fuck,
that's
yeah.
mad.
Like I want like those kinds of people to mix with, you know, Gen Z and younger people, younger creative people, because I think, the most important thing for me is very much sharing education, sharing knowledge, because I think that's something that I very much didn't have growing up.
That's true, and there is so much that they can teach us. I still realise those moments that I haven't taken advantage of. Because it was my birthday yesterday, we had a dinner, right? My girlfriend came over, was talking to my parents, and was asking them about what Australia was like when they were growing up, and they were telling stories that I'd never heard of before. And I'm like, they're my parents, I've lived with them my whole life. And they were like, yeah, man, back in the 50s, like they were talking about the city, like no one lived in the city, you could just drive in, and I'm like, they have so much knowledge and experience, like they've got lived experience of what it was like when you and I weren't even here, 100%. That we could learn from, and how people enjoyed themselves, how they interacted, how they went about all the problems that we have, they also probably had, but dealt with them in different ways, and we just ignore it.
Yes. I'm very much
because we want to
of
hang
that.
out like in the cool club, with the cool kids, but we only know what we know. And if we hang around people that know exactly the same thing that we know, it's very hard to gain new knowledge.
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%. And I think that's why a lot of people choose to... I think when you get to Australia, you get to the ceiling quite quickly, and then you're like, cool. Like a lot of creatives leave to Europe, you know, Shanghai, Japan.
Yeah, man, I've heard that.
US. And I understand it, and it's just like, there's so much potential here. But yeah, it's I found it very challenging to, I guess try to do my part, or, you know, for Art Assembly to do their part. But I think that's, you know, all we can do sometimes, just doing our best. Yeah,
it's hard to fight though, right? Especially when people can do what's popular and it works.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times you're working with business that, you know, as much as it's great to talk about community and culture and want to foster it, a lot of businesses that we work with care about like results in terms of sales.
Yeah.
And if it's not making business sales, they don't care how much culture and how much communities are in their content.
Exactly.
They're not making money, they can't pay their staff. And a lot of the times they just want to go with, you know, what's going to get me the result? And if I don't get the result, you haven't done your job, Ash.
Correct. That's the resounding feedback of like, qualitative and quantitative results. And
yeah. And like when you work with these brands, and like just so people, like you've got this crazy list, your portfolio is like Adobe, Gucci, Champion, Adidas, like there's a ton. This can go on for a very long time. When you work with brands like this, how do you measure, like what's a successful campaign? To you and to them, I guess it'd be different for both of you.
1,000%.
Yeah.
For them, reaches, engagement.
Yeah, exactly.
views.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think for me, I think it's those genuine thank yous that I said.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
because I'm assuming, like from everything that you've said, a success for you is giving people this platform, giving people that are talented the spotlight, and you've been able to get these opportunities with brands, and people who will succeed who won't necessarily usually get this opportunity, and you can give it to them. I feel from what you're saying, like that is success to you, as well as also keeping a client happy, whereas the client just wants their side of success.
Yeah. I think it's always framing with the client to go, hey, you came to us because of this, and this is what we're good at. So trust us in that process.
That's true. And the longer you're in the game and the more you build a reputation, people should know when they come to you what they're getting.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, you tell me, like when you're just starting out, it'd be very hard to do because you haven't established yourself as anyone. You haven't really got a strong identity. But the more you start building this portfolio, people start recognizing your work. And then I'm assuming it comes to a point, I don't know when, like a threshold where people start coming to you knowing what to expect. Have you felt that shift compared to when you started?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, because I think as an example with that Adobe spot, that's like, one that means a lot to me because one, we had predominantly Asian crew, but I think the results of, when we even had the activation, people were just like, oh, thank you so much for telling that story, because I think that really resonated with me, and I could see that it provoked maybe some sort of action or provoked some sort of, oh, I'm going to go create this. And I think as a result, like one of my favorite results was our DOP for that job, Gary. He grew up on like the northern beaches and very much whitewashed.
Yeah.
But I've always like said to him, I'm like, yo, we got to get like a POC crew. Like, who do you know? Like, let's link it up. And he's very like Aussie Ocker bloke. And then like, I guess this year or in the last year, I've seen him own his culture more. He's like, yeah, as Asians. And I was like, the hell?
Where did that come
from? Fuck yeah. So it was really cool. And I like, those moments are like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it, where you can see something change in the mindset to then provoke action.
Yeah, true. And sometimes that's what it takes, right? And showing them, man, it's like, you can embrace this and like things are going to work out, like you don't have to conform and be someone, who you think you need to be in order to get opportunities. And I think that's a lot of what you stand for. It's like, man, you can be yourself and still get opportunities. Here, look, I will show you. Because there are a lot of people that feel like I need to perform or be a certain way to get certain opportunities. And I think maybe the environment that we live in plays a role in that pretty heavily.
1,000%. Yeah.
And we have to be that person because that's how everyone else is getting the job. So I've got to act the same way. Yeah.
I think that's what you said there is, I think the biggest key for my journey of sustainability. And I think for a lot of people is just staying true to who you are.
Yep.
And, whether you're a loud person or a quiet person or a, very outgoing person, it's just being true to that, because I think that's where you attract exactly, what's aligned with you. And I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you need to take the time to like know who you are or what you want to stand for, but you also need to share it and voice it. Otherwise, people won't know. And I learned that in the beginning because people would come up to me and be like, hey, can you shoot my, like just some random event? And I'm like, I've never done events. I don't do that. Like, what made you think you could come to me and ask me to do an event if I've like never done one? And they're like, well, you're the camera guy.
Yeah.
You know, you're a videographer. You shoot videos. Surely you can shoot everything else.
Yeah.
And that's me not doing a good enough job of communicating like what I do and what I stand for. Like if you're just posting random things or just random jobs that don't align with what you do, like you're just sharing it because it's the work that came in, but it doesn't fulfill you. People are confused by what you stand for and what your values are, especially when you have deep values or you really do want to stand for something or you want to stand out in your own personal way. It's okay to realize what they are, but you also need to share it. Yes. Otherwise, you're just another production company. 100%. And they come to you and they're like, well, you make videos, you've done videos for all these other people, surely you can make a video for me too. And if you're not voicing your values and sharing it, you know,
agreed.
That's where the brands and the opportunities that align with you will come because you've actually, you know, shared them with the world.
I think that's very true, and I also think to play the devil's advocate is to understand those values. You also need to go on that journey of like saying yes to the thing of like, yeah, I will try events.
Yeah.
Because I think it's, you know, all about collecting perspectives and then forming your own perspective.
Yes.
And I think that's an important thing, which I think is being lost as well. Yeah.
I think it's a great point. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I've found that I've absolutely found that, like, even with podcasting, it was something that was definitely not on my radar.
Yeah.
And when the opportunity was presented to me, I could have easily just been like, no, man, that's not me.
Yeah.
But I decided to take it on. And now I'm in a place where I've got my own and I'm loving it. You know, and if you just say no to things because you think you may not like them or your friend told you it's a bad idea, sometimes it is worth at least trying
100%
to see what you can learn from that. Because then even if it's not something that you want to chase, there's learning experiences in there that you can take elsewhere.
Yeah. I always say this because I think I run into a lot of creatives that go, oh, cool, I want to be a creative director or director. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, and then I'll ask them, you know, how much have you actually edited? And they're like, oh, not that much. And I was like, cool. And I think for me, it's like, again, with that whole, you know, collecting perspectives, it's for the most part or the majority, I would say to be a good director, you need to be a good editor.
Yep.
And I think it's all about, you know, collecting those different perspectives and toolkits to go. Like, there was a point in my life where I was doing like labor work and I was like, fuck, I love this. But I think that will inform who I am, inform the creativity, and I think that's an important thing.
Yeah. And I think what's beautiful about what you're doing and creating a community and even the people that do work for you is that when you're not doing it on your own, you can see what other people are also doing and that can inspire you. You may not even know that was a job, you know, and you're seeing someone else do it and it makes you realize, like, I thought I liked this, but I think I like that better. And you would have never known that if you didn't put yourself around those people.
Yeah. And
you learn from all those things, and creativity can take you so many different places. And a lot of the times you only know what you know, you know, and if you don't see someone else doing this other random job that makes you curious, you'll never know, you know, and the lonely part, doing it on your own, you never get to see those things.
100%. And I think that's why, like, for me, establishing these like foundational truths has been so important, because realistically I can actually do any kind of job that I want as long as I know fundamentally what it is that I enjoy. So if it's like facilitating creative people or, you know, facilitating creative sustainability, I'm like, okay, cool. So I could go to a bank or go back to being a tradie or something like that, and I would then approach or apply that to whatever job it is. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm being fulfilled.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the experience and you've been around enough people, but say someone did want to be thought they wanted to be a director. They came to you, they're in that environment, and then they see what the director does. It makes you realize like what it actually involves. Yeah. And that's a win, because you're now not pursuing something because you realize, okay, that's not what I thought it was. And it saved you time. I think putting yourself in an environment and trying to work for companies, because a lot of creatives feel like they need to do it on their own.
Yes.
Like they feel, I've got to do everything, and they avoid that. And my girlfriend's taught me this. Like, she loves her 9 to 5. She works in design. She works for a fashion company, and she is, like before this, everyone's like, oh man, you need to escape the 9 to 5. You need to work your own hours, be your own boss, and that's the thing that everyone wants to achieve. And I used to think that way too. And then I met her, and she loves her life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it works perfectly for her. And there are so many times I see her doing things and I'm jealous as hell.
Yeah.
Like, she just clocks off, like 5 o'clock happens, the weekend happens, and she's like, I'm going to yoga.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I've got to keep working.
Yeah.
The amount of times it's a Sunday and I'm like, I've got to make these edits happen. And she's like, cool, I'm just going to watch some documentary. And I'm like, man, she's loving her life. She gets paid well. She's learned so much. She's in a great environment.
I learned the same experience with my roommate, because when I started that journey of like, okay, cool, I'm going to hustle, I'm going to get busy, I'm going to do everything, do anything. And it was funny because when I bought a camera, he had to teach me how to use a camera.
Yeah.
And I got it and he taught me, and I was like, sick. And I was like, oi, get all your photos together. Let's start a business together. Do all this. And he's like, oh yeah, cool. But he didn't. And he just like kept on doing his 9 to 5. And he's just always been a very content person and happy person with that lifestyle. And I was like, yeah, I missed the mark. And that was it. It's, finding your own happiness, but also respecting other people's happiness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm learning that too. Like, what I want isn't what everyone else wants. And that's totally fine. Yeah. And you need to find those people that align. And then you can both get somewhere together, but you can't be forcing someone to do things and chasing your dreams if it's not theirs. And I've found that in my journey too. Like, the people that I work with now, we're very similar in the way that we think. Even when I was telling you with a guy that I work with here, he's inspired me in ways that have made me want to do things that have benefited me. But in the past, I've also worked with people that didn't make me feel great, which I thought was really interesting. I worked for a place and I just never felt good enough. Never. And I stayed there for way too long. But the whole time, everything I did just wasn't good enough.
Right.
And I realized, I was like, it doesn't matter how good I get, these guys are always going to make me feel this way. You just stay in this is your spot. And it was weird because I went to a different environment. My skill set didn't change at all. I was the same person, like nothing changed. But all of a sudden, I was around people that made me feel like what I was doing was worth doing.
Yeah.
And it changed everything. And sometimes you just need to be around people that
100%
feel a similar way to you. And there's no right or wrong. Like, I'm sure the first guy works with people that love being in that environment.
Yeah.
And you just, and I've spoken to other people too in different industries, and a lot of the time they feel like they're unhappy with what they're doing. And sometimes I'm like, maybe you're just in the wrong place. Because they start questioning their career. Like, oh, is this something I really want to do? I hate it here. Maybe I'm not built to be a photographer or a videographer. And I'm like, well, before you get to that, maybe try doing it somewhere else first, around other people. It could be that.
Yeah. I think for that, I've always tried to look at it as, although I might not like this person very much or like this environment very much, it's, what can I learn from it? And I think that's the most important thing of remaining teachable for me, of whether that's a perspective or... because there's definitely times where you don't align with people, but then there's also times where I've found that, fuck, I actually like that we're so different and so polar opposite, but it's like I can learn and adapt this kind of perspective or system from you to then make it my own and just make me more of a human, make me more of a person. And
true. That's also very true. You're right. You're very good. You're very good at this. You're making me think a lot. Good. You're true. You're right though. If you hang around people that only think the way you do, you're not opening yourself up to the opposite.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it reminds, man, this is going to be so off topic, but it is on. I was watching a TikTok, and you know that Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's a comet guy. We're not going to stars. I told you we're not going to talk about stars. He's an astrologer. He talks about space and shit. Yeah. But he has really strong values. And he had a TikTok, and you know how some people have books behind them? He had all these books, and the titles of them were all like total contradiction to things that he's spoken about in the past. And he started getting hammered in the comments.
Yeah.
And they were like, I thought you didn't believe in this, and look at the books behind you.
Yeah.
And he came back with a reply, and he's like, if you can't challenge your own beliefs, your beliefs probably aren't strong enough. A lot of people will just, they believe in something and they'll just keep reading to confirm all of their beliefs. He's like, your beliefs become so much stronger when you can read the opposite, you can challenge them, and you can still believe what you believe. And he's like, I have those books because I want to be proven wrong. And if I can read those things and still believe the things that I do believe, I feel so much stronger and I have way more conviction in what I'm saying, because I've challenged them. And I think a lot of people, like I was saying, just surround themselves with people that think the same way, because they want to feel right and they don't want to feel challenged. And you're absolutely right. Sometimes it is good to have those people around.
Yeah, I think it's that journey of, I really value the journey of finding truth for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that goes with, you know, this, as you said, there's so much just like media and noise and, you know, even with political things or XYZ, it's just, cool, is TikTok really your source? And that's it? And you're like, And I think like, finding truth is such a value that I hold for myself very highly. Yeah.
True. And you need to look outside of those social platforms where if you are looking for truth, especially when you start realizing how it's created. Like they're very open with saying, like, we figure out what you like and we give you more of what you like. Like it understands what you like and what you believe, and it's just going to keep giving you more. So it's just confirming everything you believe, and it starts making you think like, oh, this is the world. The world thinks the way I think because that's what my feed is giving me, when really it's trained to do so.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're looking for truth, that's probably not the place, because it's only giving you what you want. And they're openly saying that.
Yeah. I also think it's about even approaching that with creativity, right? We're so it's so ingrained to always have references and like, oh, this person did this, cool. But it's just like, what can you create from just text as an example? And I think I've tried to train myself a bit more to do that, and you know, that's why I think, you know, gathering all these different perspectives is helpful to then create something new that everyone's seen and everyone hasn't seen. And yeah.
Where are you pulling ideas from and references that are outside of the norm?
That's a good question. I think for myself, I think it would just be how the world works maybe, or, you know, whether that's, yes, of course, life experiences, but it could be, I don't know, how an ant interacts with a piece of crumb. It's just like, is there some, you know, theology behind this or some metaphor behind this? And I think it's, prioritizing those lived experiences of different worlds and being involved in them. And I think that's why it's also important to, just learn from other people.
And I think that's why it's also good to be culturally inclusive as well. So many people from different cultures can teach us so many things and give us inspiration that we can then source from to create our own ideas.
Yeah.
And I asked that because I was listening to, there's this brand guy that I watch, and he's really good. And he's into music videos, and he says that he'll go back to like 1980s, 1990s, and he's trying to get his references and his sources from completely different areas other than the scroll. which I thought was really interesting because we think, oh, because it's old, it mustn't be good. And he was getting these amazing ideas from like a 1991 Janet Jackson video. He's like, man, it was amazing. I couldn't believe it. They were putting it together. And if you take a little bit of this and a little bit of that, you can get that. It's the same as the way my parents were talking last night. Like you can get an idea based on something that's complete. Because right now we're all getting the ideas off the same source. And that's why it starts looking the same. Well, I just think it's really interesting, and you seem to be someone that thinks that way. Now, when it comes to like building your business in Odd Assembly, it's the skills that you need are way more than just creativity. The way that you're speaking in terms of the people that you hire, I feel like you need really strong leadership skills, business, sales. What are the skills that you think are the most important? Or actually, I'll ask it better. What are some of the skills that you probably realized you didn't have going into this that you needed in order for this to get to where it is now?
I think it's one, managing egos. That's always
it's very hard to do.
Yeah, because I think, you know, so many people live different lives, and, you know, it's maybe just like getting to know people, having coffees with them, and understanding their life, and understanding by them telling their life, you understand what's important to them. And I think it's a skill would be probably, it's definitely like resilience. It's definitely embracing failure, and embracing failure in a way that you actually enjoy it. And in a way where, because I've definitely been thrown so many curveballs that I was like, I didn't think I'd be doing this stuff.
Especially when you're the guy. A lot of it comes back to you, right?
But I think the biggest thing would actually be remaining hopeful. I think the creative journey is not easy. It's so personal, as I said, but that journey can be has so much potential to be soul-sucking and, you know, very draining. And, you know, you can trust so many people, and that can be broken a lot. But I think it's remembering and remaining hopeful for the good interactions you've had with people. And I think it's those moments where you're like, oh, this person showed, you know, appreciation in this way, and I received that. And it's kind of like that whole thing of, you know, when Margaret and Sammy hired me for that job, I was so thankful, and remembering that to go, okay, cool, now it's my responsibility to share that is an example of where I need to remember to keep that hopefulness for a country like Australia.
That's really good, because it's outside of just the creativity, you know, like you can be the greatest creative and the greatest editor, but if you don't have these people skills, or if you don't know how to respect someone else's dreams and what they're trying to achieve, and know how to work as a team, being appreciative of opportunities. None of this have anything to do with being a great editor. But if you 100%. Want to be a great editor, you need to, you know, and if you want to get those opportunities, it's realizing, where did the opportunities come from? How can it's gaining the knowledge and learning from people, but also finding ways to give back, whether it is to those same people or to the people who were in your position in the first place. You know, I'm a big believer in that. I feel like in order for me to become a part of any group, I have to build myself up to be of value to that group, and then also find ways to give back. This podcast is one of those ways to give back. I'm getting people on. I'm taking my time, effort, resources, right? It's been a year. I don't make money out of this. I'm just giving my time and my effort in a way to give back to the community so that I can feel like welcome and a part of it. Same as the events. I'm creating a space, right, where people who were in my position can come and meet other people, not feel lonely the way I felt lonely, have opportunities to shoot in spaces that they may not have the opportunity to shoot in. All of it is just giving back. So I've spent the first half of everything I've been doing gaining skills, learning, meeting people, rather than keeping it to myself. I've spent the last year, 2 years, giving it all back. I've realized that I've been more embraced, I guess, and felt more a part of the community once I started to learn that that's what I not had to do, but everything becomes way more fulfilling. And that only came from me saying, before all this, I felt unfulfilled. I was doing work for all these clients that I didn't feel great doing. I felt stressed out, and my point of self-reflection was like, none of this is fulfilling me. I had to learn to say no to all these jobs that were paying me well, to realize that the things that made me feel fulfilled was becoming part of the community and surrounding myself with people that feel like my kind of people.
Yeah.
And I had to make that transition of like letting go of clients. You made me realize I probably, rather than letting go, I should have just found, but hey, we learn.
Yeah.
And now I'm in a place where I feel so much happier because I'm doing the things that make me feel fulfilled.
It's interesting because I think most of society, I think what they are fulfilled by is generally what they didn't have as a kid and growing up. And I think it's also, what you've said there also has just reminded me of something that I need to remember as well, is like, what can I actually give to someone who can give me zero value on paper? And I think that's a good challenge that I think I'll take away for sure from your end.
Yeah, you really do. You have to go to a place where you give without the expectation of receiving anything in return.
Yeah.
And that's just it,
It's important.
Even with your own work, there's a lot of people, they put out work with the expectation of receiving something in return. They want the views and the likes, but being okay with like, no, this is my work and I just want to share it. It doesn't matter what happens after posting this. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And not letting it like that lesson has carried over to so many different aspects of what I do that isn't an easy thing to do. Like it really isn't. Like you want to have, that validation, and tough. Are there dream collaborations or dream projects that you haven't worked on yet but would love to?
Yes, there's plenty. I guess there's a lot from different kinds of angles. Just on a personal kind of whim, it's definitely Bunnings.
Wow. Wasn't expecting that one.
They definitely have like IKEA branding status.
Yeah.
And I know they won't like change any of their ads or whatever their projects they do, but I'm like, there's so much branding capital here where it'll be so sick.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I think it's... I think the dream project is something that I can't even think of. And the dream project is very much, what's the stupidest idea I could do, but also be very meaningful. Yeah.
Yeah, true. A lot of the times it's like, it's an idea that you don't even know yet. It's not like you seem to be very open to things. So
yeah, I very much like breaking that mold or pushing the envelope as much. And I think because we've become very censored as a society, it's allowing for a little bit more free thought and free expression, because I think it's so like, you can't do this, you can't say this because of this and that, and you're like, but sometimes it's also just art, and sometimes it's just creative expression to communicate a story.
What would you say to someone like a creative who's on their own who feels restricted because they feel like they can't say certain things or their ideas won't be accepted? How do you make that person, or what advice would you give that person to make them feel like they have permission to share what they want to share? Like, it's not an easy thing to do. Like, you've come to this place where you're okay with it, but for most people, they're not quite there yet. And sometimes it takes something. Even for me, like, there were so many things. I was afraid to be in front of a camera. I was terrified of saying anything because I was afraid of judgment. What are people going to think of me? Everyone's going to think I'm an idiot. Who am I to be speaking? And you need to come to a place where you're valid to share what you want to share. Like, you're an artist, you can share your art.
Yeah. I think the biggest tool I would recommend would be 100% a therapist. Like I've seen my therapist, how long now? Seen a therapist for almost 10 years.
Yep, that's great.
And I think it's really just doing the gritty work every day, and getting that, that guidance and support to find out who you really are and what you really want. And that'll always change, but it's also, doing that work of that self-work, because I think fundamentally there are things that we need as humans to function, and I think getting that foundation right is going to be important to be able to get to that next level, or put yourselves in that position of fulfillment. I'm
a big advocate of seeing a therapist too, and even outside of that, the people that don't, finding places where you can clear your thoughts without judgment, I think too. I think like journaling is also a big one, because
100%.
You're able to get your thoughts out and find some sort of clarity without feeling like, because even when you're speaking to a friend or anyone, that you try, there's still that sense of like a little bit of judgment, regardless of who you're speaking to or what you're doing, and finding a place where you can just let everything out to have a better understanding of who you are as a person, I think is important, regardless of what that looks like. Because sometimes there are things that are just holding us back and we don't even realize.
Yeah.
And, a lot of them are just fears that we've just created in our mind that don't even exist. And they hold us back from opportunities. They hold us back from doing things. And there's a lot of frustration that comes from, I know I'm not the only one, like you get frustrated because you see other people doing it, doing the things that you're afraid to do, and they're getting all the opportunities that you want, and you have no one to blame but yourself. But and you just have this like judgment on everyone else, like who are they to be doing this? And a lot of it's just you, and you needing to do the inner work. Like there's no reason why you can't be that person. You just have to overcome these self-limiting beliefs and these fears that you need to overcome. And a lot of it could be, the answer could be a therapist, journaling, or finding outlets where you can figure those things out and overcome them.
And I think it's also defining what that reflection tool is, or like, yes, I think for myself, it's as well as like, we all of us get told of like, go for a run, go to an ice bath, have a cold shower, journal on paper, but it's also like, find your own version of that. And a good friend of mine, she taught me, she was like, oh, hey, you should try this. And I was like, oh, cool, I will. And it was like journaling from WhatsApp and journaling from voice notes. And I was like, oh, that's so good. Because I think as well, it's just contextually understanding, my schedule and my bandwidth, and going like, okay, it's actually so much easier and more time efficient to just be honest as a voice. And I was like, oh, sick, this is so helpful. Yes. So that's what I've been doing as well.
I come from the fitness world. Before I was here, I was a personal trainer for 15 years. Yeah. And man, that world is tough, because everything you were saying like just made me real. Like there's a lot of, and I lived it for the longest time. Whereas like if you're not doing the ice baths, if you're not waking up at 5 a.m., you're a piece of shit, And I'm like, man, I want to wake up at 7 a.m. Like it's not for me, I'm more productive. Man, for the longest time, I started my mornings like at work, because I had to train people at 5:30 in the morning. I was miserable. I was so tired all the time, and I thought that was normal, because I was like, I'm getting after it. I'm up before everyone else. And it wasn't until I stopped doing that, and I was like, I feel so much better. Like, there's so much more clarity. I actually sleep now. So now when like these guys are there going, you need to wake up at 5 a.m. and start your day with an ice bath, I'm like, that probably works for you and that's great, but that doesn't work for me, man. And that's okay too, and there's nothing wrong with that. And you need to find the things that work for you, what makes you feel productive.
But no one says that a lot.
No, they don't. You can't. Yeah. You can't.
The ice bath is metaphorical, everyone.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. But that's just me. I found like that's the place that makes me happy. I'm more productive. If I go to sleep and a lot of the times, man, we're all sleeping 8 hours anyway. It doesn't, like I went to bed at 11, I woke up at 7. Like it's the guy that's waking up at 5 is probably going to bed at 8. Like they're just more productive at different parts of the day. Like there's no difference. And for me, that's what works for me, and I'm okay with that. And there's no judgment to anyone that does it any different. You just need to find, the things that work for you.
Exactly.
And figure it out for yourself. And sometimes figuring it out means trying it, like you were saying earlier, because you just don't know.
Yeah.
It's been really good talking to you.
Oh, see.
And in terms of like the future, like the goals of Odd Assembly, like your own personal goals, like what are you looking to? I still feel like this is really young for you in terms of, and you've been able to achieve so much in a short period of time. One, do you realize that?
Yes and no.
How much do you appreciate what you've achieved so far? Like, are you proud of what you've done, or is there parts of you like, oh, I could have done more, could have done things differently?
I'm very much a person that always likes to focus on the more.
Yeah,
definitely.
Same.
And not I don't smell the roses too much, but I think, yeah.
Do you think that's a good or a bad thing?
It's definitely more of a bad thing.
Yeah, same.
But I think I've also built a support network where I can smell those roses, whether that's, seeing my therapist or the specific people in my life that remind me of, Ash, you're doing good. And I'm like, oh, okay, sick.
You need that.
Yeah. But I think, I definitely,
You should. I think it's important. I was the one, and only till not even that long ago, man, I just go. And I was telling you before we start, everything feels like it's gone so fast. And I remember when it was only 3 months ago, I ran that first event. I was so stressed out. I wanted everything to go well. I wanted all these things to happen. It consumed me so much. And bro, I blinked and it was over. Like, I experienced nothing. Like, physically, it felt like I wasn't even there.
Yeah.
I remember everyone left the place, the studio, and it was just me and my girlfriend. I'm like, it's over. Like, I blinked and it was gone. And I appreciate, like, nothing. I just wasn't present. And I was like, I can't do that. Like, I'm not enjoying the thing. I'm just going and going and going. And I'm never present. I'm not stopping and, like, appreciating things.
Do you think you were present in that moment, in those moments of that build-up, though?
No, man, I was stressed. I was like, well, I've got to do this and this and this. I need to post a video. I need to organize this. And then even in it, I was talking to so many people. I can't tell you a single conversation I had, bro. People were coming up and talking to me. I honestly can't remember what we spoke about because I'd be talking to the guy and I'd be thinking, like, is the model doing, like, is he okay? I haven't checked in on the model. Has everyone eaten? Has everyone had? So I'm like, this podcast has taught, not this one specifically too, but just doing a podcast has taught me to be present and listen to someone. There's so many times I'd be in a conversation and I'm just thinking about something else because there's just so much going on. And that's kind of what I'm trying to get at. Like, I'm not appreciating anything, not even those moments. And you're someone who's literally said in this conversation, like, you've got to appreciate those people, give them their time, respect their time, and, like, listen to what their dreams and their goals are. If you're someone who, like I was, who's, like, not even present or listening because they're too distracted with all these other things that are going on, you're not respecting that person or their time. And then how can you expect anyone to give you that same respect back? And I'm learning to doing this podcast, I'm like 40 something episodes in, I'm actually super proud of that, has taught me to, like, listen, be more present, forget about everything else for a while, like, stop. Nothing bad's gonna happen. When I do those events, it's like, when I'm there, just take it in, have a conversation with people, like, enjoy what you've been able to build. Even if it's just for a moment, you don't have to do it all the time, but having those moments where you're like, you have to plan them, I think. Even now, Sundays, bro, like, me and the girlfriend, we're not working. I used to work 7 days a week, all the time, like, it has to be done. Whereas, like, we've made it a rule, man. Like, Sunday, we're having breakfast together, like, whatever we want to do. And I appreciate it so much because I'm like, I'm not thinking about anything else. And I think just celebrating little wins, learning to be more present has been helpful for me.
That's important.
But a lot of the times when you achieve so much, I'm like, for you to be able to do all this, it's hard because it's not easy to do, and there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of people that you have to manage and brands that you have to, like, there's a lot going on. It made me wonder whether, it's not an easy thing to do. It's not. I've met, like, super chill people, but they got nothing really going on. That's their life. And they're super chill and super present. But then there's other people that are more, I guess you just call them go-getters. There's no right or wrong, They're go-getters and they're always going, but they do find it a lot harder to kind of just be a bit more present. And that's something that I'm trying to practice a lot more.
Yeah, I think that comes down to, for me, how I've kind of tried to navigate that is just the respective support system or network around me that will help me, remind me of that. And I think what also helps is just, I think when emotions get involved especially, is trying to take a step back and look at it objectively and pragmatically in a way where we asked the team this recently as well, of like, oh, you know, do you like to, when you're doing a project, do you like to start the project? Do you like to be in the middle of the project or the end of the project? And we all had different answers. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. But I think, yeah, if you read into that further, there's like so many things where I was like, oh, that's great because I love starting things, but then like consistently doing it, you prefer that, and it's just like, okay, that's why we work well together.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool.
That is good. That's great. Very good point. And something that I learned from working here, the owner of this place, it was about a year ago, he's come up with this like way of trying to come up with solutions to ideas. And he's very open about it. He's like, we'll have meetings, and he's like, we all have to be okay that our idea isn't always going to win.
100%.
And we have to create an environment where everyone can say their idea and be okay with, most of the time, like, we're just going to go with the best idea, and we have to be okay with that and not get too emotional about it. And he's open too. He's like, a lot of the time it's not going to be my idea, even though he's the guy. And I think fostering that environment is important, especially when you're the good bro. At the end of the day, like, it's your brand. Like, it can be your. We can go with what you say every time.
Yeah.
But when you're working in a team, even though it is your brand, it's hard to have your team be on board when none of their ideas are being heard.
100%.
And just the brand in general. What are you looking to achieve from it? What's the end goal? Well, not even the end goal, but like the next 5 years. Like, are there?
Yeah.
Do you set out those goals? Outside of Shanghai, obviously, is one of them.
So outside of Shanghai, I think the ultimate goal for me was actually just to be able to be in a position of, I guess, creative philanthropy, where it's like there's so much ample resource to, you know, fund that 18-year-old kid who just came out of high school, or fund those projects that need that funding. And I think secondly, it would be changing the education system from a creative standpoint. I'm very passionate about, and that's kind of like, you know, long-term goals, because I think it's all about changing, you know, legislation around how kids are educated about creativity. Because for myself, like, the most creative workshop, the most creative class that I had was wood workshop.
Yeah,
I was
same.
like,
yeah,
cool. Obviously, like, the education system has changed drastically, but I think
of course.
a lot of it, especially for me, I'm like a street creative, very much taught by YouTube and taught by myself, and it's just taught by kinesthetic, being a kinesthetic learner. And I think, I think education is such a big monster that I think can really change the world, and a lot of different kind of, you know, social issues or whatever.
True. You're right, because so much can happen in those schooling years. And it's crazy to think that the amount of conversations that I've heard where you talk to people and they're a few years out of school and they're like, I've learned so much more doing this than I ever did at school or at uni. And you just hear that over and over and over again. And it makes you think, like, surely it's got to reach a point where something changes. And I think what you're doing, like, it's rather than, I think what most people take on is, like, rather than trying to change the schooling system, they create something and give them the opportunity to learn those things then. Whereas you're saying, like, it could happen so much sooner. Like, you know, kids shouldn't have to wait until they leave school to get experience to learn the things that they really want to learn and are passionate about. It can happen while they're in schools, but it needs to change.
Yeah, I'm very not the biggest fan of education systems, but I think there's so much power there to really see change on so many different levels, from, you know, even bullying to
yeah, you're right, man. Even what you're saying, like the kids that get bullied are the ones that are the odd ones out, which is something that you're trying to change in what you're doing. That's very true.
Yeah.
And to end this on a more like positive note, what's something that you're excited about in this, like especially in our creative landscape? What excites you the most?
That's a good question. Yeah, I would say I'm excited about those micro communities, and, you know, it's almost like these communities are coming back to more fundamentals of just being a human, just to go like,
yeah, exactly.
Oh, we do want to play chess together. I'm like, cool, you guys go play chess together. That's sick. I fucking love that. I think it's working back towards, almost this like childlike mindset of just being playful and energetic again, and, you know, getting off digital things and just being present. I think that's what I'm excited about the most.
And it's weird that it's kind of gone back to that, because remember I was telling you, like, I grew up without the internet.
Yeah.
And we had to just hang out like at the park.
Yeah.
And do stuff and like do stupid shit and like go home with like injuries everywhere because you fell down, you cut yourself doing something ridiculous. Like that just stopped.
Yeah.
When like, and now it feels like it's starting to come back because people are starting to crave it more. Like all these run clubs and stuff, that's like what we were doing when we were kids. We used to just hang out.
Yeah.
All the time for hours.
Yeah. I love that. And I think that ethos has also kind of been applied to people wanting to tell their stories more. I think there's been a bigger appetite, you know, for like, oh, I want to tell that story. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see, and this is me being very assumptive, but like, I can't wait to see what you didn't have as when you grew up, because it's usually, you know, coming from that experience, or it just shows what's important to them, and I find that really exciting.
Yeah. I love that. I've loved this conversation. I love what you're doing. Like you're giving people a voice that
likewise
trying to you know, but I get inspired from all these conversations and the people that I've had on, because they're out there doing things and they're giving other people opportunities. And dude, I know what it's like. I've been in that place where you just feel like you're terrified of posting anything about me. And it came from, I don't know if you know Vienna Marie, because she's a Sony advocate, but she's like
no.
But again, she's a big advocate. She's from the Philippines, but she's a huge advocate in like Asian representation and being a female as well. I think that's a huge thing. Steph spoke about that too, and I think that's important to speak about as well. But she was the one that encouraged me to put myself out there, because she has a mentorship program. Signed up to it because I just didn't know anyone, and it was a mentorship program. But what I've come to realize is I just wanted a creative friend. Like I literally knew no one, bro, and we'd get on this call once a week, and I just felt like I finally got to talk to someone creative, and I just. Everything in my head, she was like my creative therapist.
Cool.
Literally, we'd get on the call, she'd have a whole like list of things she wanted to go over. As soon as like she got on, all my problems, bro. I just tell her everything that I didn't know. I was trying to figure out, this client did this, I don't know what to do with this guy. I've like all the problems. And which I thought was hilarious, but it made me realize that's what I was looking for. And then secondly, she was like, dude, I go on your page and you, I don't know who you are. She's like, your name is like Kenny Visuals. Like that was my handle. She's like, I don't see Kenny anywhere. And it made me realize that I was scared to do that. And she forced me to do it. She's like, by the time I see you next week, I need you to have posted a video of you introducing yourself to the world. And I thought, like, man, I keep coming back to that because it was such a pivotal thing in my career. And it's almost like, yeah, this is who I am. And I'm gonna put it out there, and it doesn't matter what you guys think. Like I'm claiming that this is what I do now, and this is who I am, and I'm not hiding behind all this work anymore. And I feel like your brand is giving other creatives permission to do the same.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I think what you're talking about, I go back and forth a lot about, because I'm like I'm rarely in front of the camera, and I'm like happy to, but I'm also like, I don't know. I guess I've always my thing is that who I am should also show in the people that's around me.
Yeah, totally.
And
yeah, it doesn't have to be by showing in front of the camera. It can be in so many ways.
Yeah.
But like being open with sharing your ideas and sharing your story and the things that you stand for. You're very open to saying, I want this to be a cultural space. I want representation of everyone.
Exactly.
You know, and not being afraid to share those things is more the concept behind what I'm getting out of everything that you're doing. And I think it's really important.
Yeah.
It's really important. We live in a world where everyone's doing the same thing because they're just too afraid to do anything else. And you need these spaces. And I like that you encourage people to come to you with these ideas. And there should be more of it.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Thanks for the opportunity.
No problem. Thanks for sharing your time and everything. You know, this has been, I've
course.
learned a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you, man. Thanks.